Let's talk to the man himself, Carter Page, foreign policy advisor for the Trump campaign. Welcome here to GMA right now. So let's just begin with some of the basic facts. March of last year, President Trump tells the Washington Post you're a member of his foreign policy team. Who brought you into the Trump campaign? What did you do for them?
You know, George, I don't talk about that because there's always these various conspiracy theories that anyone I work with is.
But that's a pretty innocent fact. Who brought you into the campaign?
Well, I don't want to have people's lives disrupted. If I told you a name, there would be dozens of calls to that individual within minutes.
Not if nothing went wrong.
Well, people make up all kinds of conspiracy theories. That's been the nature of this from the get-go.
But not revealing is what fuels the conspiracy theories.
No, but this is. Again, people just make things up, and it's not going to help matters.
So you're not going to say who brought you into the campaign. Can you say what you did?
I was a informal advisor, member of a committee, which was put together, a team of individuals who were looking at various foreign policy issues and thinking through some of the issues that were on the table.
So let's fast forward to last summer. In order to get that wiretap, the FBI had to show probable cause, strong evidence that you were acting as a Russian agent. In your communications with the FBI, have you now convinced them you weren't acting as a Russian agent?
You know, I do not talk about any ongoing investigations. I will say that in terms of probable cause, there's been a ton of false evidence that's been out there, primarily in the public realm. But we shall see as these reports come out. But you know
that they had to present this evidence to a court, to an independent court. They had to be convinced that this at least was evidence worthy of investigation. So what could they have been thinking of?
Well, there was tons of false evidence, whether primarily related to that dodgy dossier, which Senator Harry Reid last August sent to Director Comey. And who knows what the exact basis of? I really look forward to seeing it.
There's also a lot of focus on this trip you took to Russia last July. You met with Russian academics, you've said. You also met with people in the business community. Did you meet with anyone in the Russian government or connected to Russian intelligence?
I said hello briefly to one individual who is a board member of the new economic school where I gave my speech.
And in any of these conversations with Russians, either in Russia or back here in the United States, did you ever suggest to any of them that President Trump, a candidate Trump, would be open to easing sanctions on Russia?
Absolutely not.
Never? Not once?
I never offered that. No, nothing along those lines. Absolutely not. I mean, it may... Topics, I don't remember. We'll see what comes out in this FISA transcript. It's nice
you know what you did.
Well, I don't recall every single word that I ever said, but I would never make any offer or intimate anything that was in the process. But it
sounds like from what you're saying, it's possible that you may have discussed the easing of sanctions.
Something may have come up in a conversation. I have no recollection, and there is nothing specifically that I would have done that would have given people that impression, George.
But you can't say without equivocation that you didn't discuss the easing of sanctions.
Someone may have brought it up. I have no recollection, and if it was not something I was offering or someone was asking for.
And any conversations about those emails that were stolen from the DNC, from the Clinton campaign? Any conversations about that?
Not a word.
Not once? Not once. Absolutely positive?
Absolutely sure.
So how can you be sure you didn't talk about that, but you're not sure you didn't talk about easing of sanctions?
Well, that didn't happen until a couple of weeks later, I believe, during the DNC, right? And I was already back from there at the time. And actually, the Cleveland convention was the week before.
And that was about the time where you were then separated from the Trump campaign. A little later than that, where the FISA court gives this warrant as well. Since then, have you had any contact with President Trump or anyone in that campaign?
No, I have not. Since inauguration, I've not spoken with anyone.
Yeah, but I'm talking about from August to inauguration.
There were various people I would speak to from time to time, old colleagues, et cetera.
So you maintained contact with the Trump campaign from August through Inauguration Day?
Light contact.
No discussions?
And no discussions of anything substantive relating to the things that have been accused.
The president and his top advisors now accept that the intelligence community's conclusion that Russia did try to interfere in our elections. Do you accept that conclusion?
The main conclusion I come to is just looking at what was done. I don't have any inside information as to what happened. What I do know is that these false attacks that were taken against me had a much bigger impact than anything that may have come out in WikiLeaks. And these same lies keep swirling around months and months on end, having really negative impact on U.S.-Russia relations and really U.S.'s position in the world.
So bottom line, you're confident that neither you nor anyone in the Trump campaign will be convicted of a crime because of the involvement with Russia?
That would be ridiculous. Absolutely not.
Carter Page, thanks very much.
Thanks, George.